if there is a market drop of 20% or more at any point during the first 10 years of your retirement, if you just have like a diversified portfolio, you are up the creek with no paddle. You are in trouble.
Welcome to Retirement Today. I'm your co-host, Zach Holcomb, and alongside me we have Michael Reese. He's a certified financial planning professional, and he spent the last 25 plus years helping develop plans to get families into and through retirement. This is Retirement Today. But before we get started on today's program, Mike, tell me how you are this evening.
As always, doing fantastic. I mean, I live in Austin, Texas. How's that not a good thing?
I know there's no reason to not be happy living here.
Except
awesome.
For traffic sometimes.
Yeah, and the real estate prices.
They've been good to me.
Yeah, definitely. Well, I'm excited for the show today. I think we have a great topic that we're going to discuss that our listeners are really going to take a lot out of. We're going to be talking about retirement income planning and some of the risk associated with it.
Yeah, that's right. And, we've got this great article that came out and, titled Planning for Retirement Income Within an Increasing Volatile and Uncertain World.
That's scary. Ooh.
Yeah. Except the problem is, this is written by, of course, some kind of academic person. So there's about, 100% or 150% more words than needed.
Yes, it is very
whole article.
Wordy. But you know what? We've taken away some good points from it.
Yeah, what's kind of interesting? I do want to read this.
Sure.
And this is, by the way, for all of you listening out there in Radio Land, this is the kind of stuff we have to read through just so that we can share with you what's really happening. So here's what this says. Retirement income planning is one of the most highly personal, complex, and least understood financial journeys individuals face today. And they go, as more Americans enter retirement without the protection of a defined benefit pension plan, the potential ramifications of inadequate income planning become even more immediate. And they talk about, hey, you've got these questions. How long are you going to live? How healthy are you going to be? And what about inflation? What about taxes? There's a lot of moving parts. And essentially what they're talking about in this article is they're saying this. They're saying, hey, everybody, it used to be when you retired, you had Social Security and a pension and your personal savings, the three-legged stool. So again, leg number one, Social Security. Leg number two, pension. Leg number three, personal savings. Two of those legs, Zach, are lifetime income streams.
Yep.
Right? Guaranteed streams of lifetime income. You can't outlive them. It's always going to be there. One of those streams, personal savings, it's kind of for extra stuff.
Sure.
But what they're saying is today, there's a ton of people. I think the article references something like 80% of people do not have pensions.
Yeah, it seems pretty accurate, maybe even more.
Yeah, and so all they have is Social Security and retirement savings.
Right.
And they got to make it work.
Yep.
And what's really important in this article is, this article destroys what the financial industry as a whole tells you should do. It destroys it. Because think about this. If you go to an investment advisor today, or you go to like one of the big firms, Vanguard, Fidelity, Schwab, those kinds of places.
Sure.
If you go there and you ask them, how do I structure my portfolio for retirement?
Oh, I think I know the answer to this one.
What do you think they're going to say?
They're going to give you a nice, colorful pie chart. They're going to diversify between stocks and bonds, throw in some international in there. It's going to look so pretty and great and perfect.
That's right. They're going to give you the balanced portfolio.
Right.
They're going to tell you just need to invest in a balanced, diversified portfolio, and it's all going to be fine.
Yep.
Right? Yet, here's what this article tells. And this article's it's done by people, they don't have a dog in the fight, right? This is actually done by, it was by Colin Devine, who's an education fellow at the Alliance for Lifetime Income, and Ken Mungan, chairman of Milliman. Milliman's nothing more than a think tank. They're just crunching numbers. They're a bunch of actuaries. They are. By the way, you know what an actuary is?
I need the definition.
It's an accountant without a sense of humor.
Da-da-da-da.
Yeah, me and my jokes. But here's what they tell you. They say if you do this balanced portfolio and you want to say take 4% income, right? That's classic. You got $1 million, you want to take out $40,000 a year. You got $500,000, take out $20,000, whatever it is. They say, as long as everything goes really, really well, you still got a 20% chance that you're going to run out of money.
And that's if everything goes really well.
Yeah. And here, check this out. They say if you get just one market correction, 20%, just one in the next 10 years or the first 10 years of your retirement, 20% drop in the first 10 years of retirement, which, by the way, probability on that is extraordinarily high. Check this out. Now you've got a 43% chance you're going to run out of money.
I don't like that number.
That's not good.
No.
And what if you want 5% income? Same 60-40 portfolio. If you want 5% income and everything goes well, 44.6% chance you run out of money. And if you have 20% drop, you have a 70% chance you're going to run out of money. So essentially, what are they saying? They're saying this idea of the classic, diversified, balanced portfolio, the idea that that's going to serve you well in retirement, essentially what they're saying is, not only is that wrong, that's just really, 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 really wrong. And I could have told them that because I experienced that with my own parents over 20 years ago. Right? Over 20 years ago, when my parents retired, they retired in the late 90s. And at the time, what did the industry teach us? Use a balanced, diversified portfolio. That's what they taught us. And what happened was I did that for my parents, and I did it perfectly well. And by the end of 2002, which was, 2000, 2001, 2002 was a 3-year period where the stock market lost about half. By the end of 2002, half of their money was gone. And they were diversified, but you combine a diversified portfolio with distributions, and you have, in a market that's going down, you know what you have? Chaos.
Yep.
It just doesn't work. That's what this article says. It's like these balanced portfolios are great if you're trying to grow money, but to be a solution for retirement planning once you're retired, it's like, that's a loser. And what makes me so angry, this is why, as you're listening to us, you wonder, like, why do you do what you do? It's right here. This article is why we do what we do. Because the financial industries, they know it. Here's the part. They know it doesn't work. That's what drives me crazy. They know that a balanced portfolio is very likely to fail you during your retirement, and they don't care.
Right, because you mentioned it failed when your parents retired 25 years ago. They're doing the same thing now.
Yeah, and it failed in 2008 as well.
Yeah.
So they know it's going to fail when the market goes south. They don't care. They don't care. Just keep your money invested so they can make their fees and they're happy. And that just offends me. I'm a big believer that you deserve to enjoy the retirement of your dreams. You work your whole frickin' life to save money. You deserve to enjoy the fruits of your labor. But a balanced portfolio isn't going to cut it. You need to have a more sophisticated strategy to help you manage your money wisely to get you through retirement. Right? You need a plan to get you to retirement, but you need also a plan to get you through retirement. What gets you to retirement is not the same thing that gets you through retirement. There's 4 things that this article points out. 4 things.
Yep.
I think they missed one. So
there might be 5.
There might be 5.
Okay.
But the article talks about, that we've been referencing here today, talks about 4 different risks. Mm-hmm. And when you think about them, they all make such perfect sense. And the first one, Zach, is longevity.
Yeah, and this one kind of hits home with me. I mean, my great-grandma lived to 102. Yeah,
but I've seen how you take care of yourself. I don't know that you're going to make it.
All right, maybe I'll make it to 95.
But here's the question. One of the things they talk about in this article, and it's very, very true when it comes to retirement planning. There's good news and bad news. The good news is we're all living longer, right? Longevity, we don't know how long we're going to live, but we do know that we're living longer. What's the bad news? We're living longer,
Right.
which means our money has to last longer. It's a bigger job.
Now, this is going to blow you away. They've got some stats in here that are going to blow your mind, okay?
I got to hear it. Let's go.
A married couple, 1 out of every 3, one of them is going to live past age 90.
What? 90? I see married couple. That's a 50% chance.
So about a third of all 65-year-olds today will live past age 90.
Is that what they say?
Yeah.
Oh, there it is.
1 in 7 making it to 95.
Well, okay, so you saw, by the way, for all of you out there in Radio Land, Zach and I are looking at the same article. He's reading the text, and I'm looking at the picture because I like pictures. I'm
Yes.
visual
It's
learner.
very colorful, too.
It is.
Yeah.
So they break that down, I think,
Yeah.
is what they do in the picture because
Yeah.
they say 1 out of 3 will make it to age 90.
Yes.
Or about a third, yeah. But then they say, what if you're married,
Yep.
right? If you're married, there's a 50% chance that at least one of you will make it to 91. There's a 25% chance that at least one of you, might be both, make it to 96.
So if you retire and you're 60, you might have to structure your income to last 30 to 35 years.
Exactly. I can't tell you how many families we talked to today. We saw a study, Zach, in a previous show where they said that the average age that people are wanting to retire is 62. Remember that?
Yep.
So imagine that. You retire at 62 and you live to 92. That's 30 years. That's a long time your money's got to last.
Yep.
30 years where, we don't know how long we're going to live. But what else can happen during those 30 years? That brings up some other of the 4 risks that this article talks about.
Mm-hmm.
What's the next one?
It's health.
Yeah. If you live until you're 92, is your health, what's going to happen? Is it going to get better or worse over that time?
Well, not ideally, but it's going to probably get worse.
Well, the good news is at first, early in retirement, maybe you got a chance to work out. And
Sure.
we had a event the other night, and this gal showed up. I think she was like 63 years old or something, but she was wearing this CrossFit jacket.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, she was in such great shape.
She would beat us up.
She
right?
would. Oh, she could beat me up with 2 hands tied behind her back. She was in great shape. I was so proud of her. Anyway, the point is, during the early years of retirement, certainly you can spend some time with your health and your physical fitness. But, you get in your late 80s, 90s, your health goes downhill. And the question is, what's that going to cost you? That's a big unknown, isn't it?
Yep.
So it's okay. So we're living a long time, but towards the end stages of our lives, maybe our life, quality of life isn't what it used to be. And this is where we have to bring in some people to help out. So, I think about my own, my wife's parents, right? Her dad, Harry, who is like a saint of a man, he's still alive. Her mom passed away a couple of years ago. Her mom had Alzheimer's for the last 5 years of her life. And, Harry did everything he could to take care of her. But at some point, you got to bring people in to help out.
Sure.
And that costs money.
It's not cheap.
They were very fortunate because they were able to stay at home the whole time. And they were able to pay for people to come in and help. But not everybody can do that.
Right.
Some people have to go to an assisted living facility, to a nursing home. What's that going to cost? So we don't know how long we're going to live. We don't know what we're going to pay for health care. By the way, I think I saw somewhere that the average price, if you are 65 years old, that, Fidelity does a study every year. They said that you're likely going to spend right around $390,000 on health care total.
Wow.
Over your expected lifetime. Most of that towards the end. By the way, that assumes no long-term care.
Right.
Add in long-term care on top of that, you got what they call real money, right? So we've got longevity we don't know is a risk. Health we don't know. What's the next one?
The market volatility, and you touched on that a little bit in the last segment.
Here's what nobody talks about. And this article does such a great job. This article really focuses in on how sensitive your planning is in the first 10 years of your retirement. So the first 10 years are hugely important. And what this article says, it talks about, and they do all the math, right? And they say if there is a market drop of 20% or more at any point during the first 10 years of your retirement, if you just have like a diversified portfolio, you are up the creek with no paddle. You are in trouble. And by the way, think about that. Do you know how often 20% drops have happened in the markets historically? Usually they come about once every 5 or 6 years. It's been a while since we've had a 20% drop, right? It's been 2008 since we've had a major, and you could say, oh no, wait, Mike, what about, the coronavirus, March of 2020, the market was down 30% in a month. Yeah. And it snapped right back. That's not what they're talking about. They're talking about a bear market, and they're talking about recessions that happen in the economy that knock you backwards 20, 30, 40%. And all it has to be is one time, 1 year, market's down for 1 year, 20% or more in the first 10 years of retirement, and you are just hugely in trouble.
It's not good.
What are the odds of that happening? High. That's an enormous risk. And then we've got our fourth risk that they bring up. What's that?
Inflation, and that's a hot topic right now.
It sure is. What's inflation going to be? We don't know. But good news, Zach. Social Security, I hear, increases their payout with inflation.
Really?
It's amazing that they do that. They never increase it as much as inflation.
Yeah.
Here's the fun part, though. Magically, your Medicare premium increases as well, and usually at an amount pretty close to the increase that you got in your Social Security check. So it's kind of a break even, right? Yeah. So, but here's the thing. When it comes to your retirement income planning, you got to think about what are those risks. Number one, how long are you going to live? What's your health going to be? What about market volatility? And what about inflation? There's a fifth risk, though.
Okay.
Right? They don't talk about it in this article. I wish they would have. Zach, where do most people have the majority of their money when it comes to their retirement savings?
Well, people just do what they're told. They stuff their 401ks, their IRAs, and, that's what we're told to do. And that's where a lot of people have those savings.
That's right. You probably, as you're listening, if you think about where you have most of your money, it's probably in your 401k or 403b or 457, depending on if you work for a public or a private company. And guess what? That's usually a big pot of money that has never been taxed. So I think I've shared this story on the show before, but I think this is a good time to share it again.
I think I know where you're going. I like this story.
I'll never forget.
Yes.
A gentleman who came to my office many years ago, and we'll call him Steve.
Okay.
Right?
Steve with the Fidelity statement?
Yes, Steve with the Fidelity. Yeah, this is the story. So this guy, Steve, he came. I don't know if he came to one of our dinner events or he heard us on the radio or TV. Sure. I don't remember where he came from, but he came to the office clearly. You know how some people, when they walk in the room, it's obvious that as far as that person is concerned, they're the smartest person in the room.
Steve had it all figured out.
Oh, yeah. He's brilliant.
Yeah.
According to him. Right? And so, and he comes, he's like being almost a jerk from the very beginning.
Yeah, a little bit of arrogance.
I have a simple rule, by the way. If you want to come visit with us and get a little bit of help or a second opinion, we would love to have you come visit. Just be nice. We're nice. You be nice, and it'll be a great experience. Well, apparently Steve decided he didn't want to be nice that day. Anyway, he comes in the office, and literally, as we sit down, the very first thing he does is he has his Fidelity statement in his hands, and he slams it on the table in front of me, and he says, "What do you think I should do about this?" And so I after taking a step back here, I kind of pick up the paper and I look at it, and it's a Fidelity statement, and he has an account balance of about $500,000, and he's got basically a diversified portfolio like we're talking about tonight.
Yep.
And Mike, but I wasn't sure what exactly he was asking, so I said, well, and he says, "Look, I have $500,000 in my IRA. How should I invest it? What should I do about it?" And let's be honest, Steve was just being such a jerk. Another word I might use, right? He's being such a jerk. I'm like, And I know I'm not, like, there's not a chance in the world I would ever accept him as a client.
Sure.
Because, I have a simple rule. Like, if I'm going to accept someone as a client, my simple rule is this. I want to be able to get along.
Yeah.
When I see your name on the calendar, I want it to put a smile on my face, right? Because, hey, you're a good person, we're good people, and, we're just good people hanging out.
Yep.
Steve, not so much. So... And maybe he just had a bad day. I mean, sometimes that happens, right? But anyway, for whatever reason, I said, here's a great opportunity for me to have some fun. So I pick up his statement again, and I look at it. I said, I don't know, Steve. I don't see it. He's like, what do you mean? I said, I don't see that you have $500,000 here. And, oh, boy, he picks that paper up again. He's like, he starts pointing at it, like starting to get red in the face. It's like, what are you talking about? It's right here in black and white. 500. Can you not read?
Yeah, are you blind, Mike? 500,000. Come on.
I mean, it's like you can't read. And so I take a look at it again. I say, yeah, Steve, I'm sorry. I just don't see it. And, now he's getting really red in the face. He's like, rah, 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 rah. He starts just kind of going off, right?
He's barking? Is that what that was?
Yeah, it sounded like, how on the Peanuts, the old Peanuts episodes where, the teacher talks, can't understand her. That's kind of about what it was at this point. But he was getting so red in the face, I seriously thought he was about to have a heart attack. So I said, Steve, relax. Okay, calm down, Steve. So here's the thing. Yeah, I see that your account balance says 500,000, and I see that it's your name on this account. But what makes you think that that's your money? What makes you think that all that money's yours? I mean, tell me. Maybe you know something I don't. I know that something is worth what you can sell it for, and then put the cash in your pocket, right? If you have a home that's worth $500,000 and it's paid for, and you sell it for $500,000, you put $500,000 cash in your pocket. But if you have a home that has a mortgage on it, something less goes in your pocket. Steve, this is an IRA. How are you going to pull $500,000 out of here and put it in your pocket? Oh, well, of course I got to pay taxes. It's like, right. So I guess you don't have $500,000, do you?
Yeah.
So here's the deal. You live a long time in retirement, and you have a lot of your money in 401ks and IRAs. Guess what? The IRS has a share of that. And I saw recently that our national debt just exceeded $30 trillion. Ooh. That's the equivalent of $90,000 per citizen. Do you think taxes are going to go up down the road?
Mm-hmm.
Do you think there's a risk of that? Do you think that maybe if taxes go up down the road, that'll reduce the value of your retirement accounts?
Definitely.
When you're living longer and you have healthcare issues and there's inflation and all that other stuff?
Yep.
It's a very real threat. Here's the deal. The old diversified portfolio is not a retirement plan. And if you're retired, if you're nearing retirement, it is so important that you take the right steps with your planning. My dad worked for the same company for 32 years. For 32 years, he saved for retirement. Just a middle-class guy. My parents, they're not millionaires and never were. Middle-class, good, solid, middle-class people. Mm-hmm. Just like probably, you are as you're listening in right now. And they just did everything they were told to do, tried to do everything right. And when they retired back in the late 90s, they came to me and I put them in the diversified balanced portfolio because that's what I was taught. And I did it perfectly well. And then along comes 2000, 2001, 2002, a 3-year period where over that period of time, the markets lost almost half of their value. And you combine that with, 4% withdrawals every year, there's another 12% out of the portfolio.
Yep.
By the end of 2002, my parents, because they followed my advice that I got from the financial industry, they'd lost half their money. And if they had kept on that pace, they'd be out of money today. Thank goodness that at the end, by the way, at the end of 2002, I'm looking for answers, right? What could we do? And the industry, you know what they said to me, Zach?
What'd they say?
They all said the same thing. Everybody. You know what? Markets go up over time. It'll be fine. Tell all your clients, tell your parents they just need to hold on.
Write it out.
The problem is that at that point, they don't have time. They can't hold on. If they kept doing what they were doing, they'd be out of money. And we had to do something different. And finally, after going to a number of conferences, trying to get a better answer, I finally had lunch. One day I'm sitting at a conference at lunch, and this older guy sits down. He had been practicing since the 60s. He'd been around forever. And, I asked him how he was doing, and he told me, man, if you think now is bad, you should have seen what we went through in the 70s, right? And he showed me, here's how you plan for retirement. Like, here's how you do it so that even when markets are going south, it doesn't matter. Your clients are still in good shape. So I applied that to my parents. I mean, they'd already lost half their money. I said, hey, might as well try something else. So we did that and did it with other clients. It started working. And then 2008 happens. But guess what? For my parents and the people I had in that plan, it worked. That's when, it's like, hey, it looked like it should work. It made sense it should work. It worked in 2008. So here's the challenge. We're looking at this article this week talking about the risk when it comes to your retirement planning. And in this article, they basically say if you have a balanced portfolio, a diversified balanced portfolio in retirement, be prepared to run out of money because that's probably what's going to happen. If that's your plan, because it's not a plan. And they actually get some statistics, right? And this is kind of interesting. They say balanced portfolio, and you just take out 4% a year. 4%. And the markets cooperate. They never really have a bad year at all. They say there's still a 21% chance that you're going to run out of money. Whoops. By the way, if you're taking out 5%, they say that it's about 45% chance you're going to run out of money.
Oof.
How do you feel about that, going into retirement saying, yeah, I want to take 5% income in and, well, flip a coin, 50-50.
Yeah.
Maybe my money will last, maybe it won't. In my world, that's not good enough. It's just not good enough. And, oh, by the way, then the article goes on to say, what if you have just 1 year in the first 10 years of your retirement, just one, where the market's down over 20% for the year? Just one in the first 10 years of your retirement. How does that affect the odds that your money's going to last? Well, 4% portfolio, we're saying, 20% that it would fail, 80% that it would work, right? Now it's 43% failure rate, 57% win. Basically, again, flip a coin. Maybe your money lasts, maybe you run out of money, and the industry doesn't care, right?
Yep.
By the way, if you want 5% income, now you've got a 70% chance you're going to run out of money. That just doesn't cut it, right? So, but here's what I can tell you. I do this every day. I can tell you that if you need 4 to 5% income for your retirement from your portfolio, I know how to design that so it lasts. I know how to build that so it lasts your lifetime, right? And it just involves a couple of simple strategies. And they're different for everybody, by the way. Not everybody's the same, of course. But there are some simple strategies that you can use. It depends on the person. That way you take these failure rates of 20 and 40 and 70%. Wouldn't it be great if the failure rate would be 0?
Definitely.
Or, gosh, less than 10? Right? I mean, duh. Here's the challenge, though. You have to understand an investment plan is not a retirement plan. You have factors in your retirement you have to pay attention to. We've identified 5 things tonight that you got to watch out for. You got to watch out. What if you live a long time? Makes it harder for your money to last. What if you get sick along the way? What's that going to cost? What if the market has a bad year or two? How do you protect against that? What about inflation? Who knows what's going on there, right? And then what about my favorite topic?
Taxes.
Taxes. What if taxes increase down the road? Right now, our government's over $30 trillion in debt. That's $90,000 for every man, woman, and child in this country. No way that's going to get paid off. So they're going to have to increase taxes. And if a bunch of your money's in your 401k or IRA, what are you going to do about that? Well, here's the thing. We have answers for you. We can help you with that. And you may have a current advisor. if your advisor's not talking to you about this stuff, guess what? You don't have a retirement advisor. You have a growth and accumulation advisor. Maybe it's time for you to start getting more sophisticated help. By the way, if you're retired right now, if you're in the first few years of your retirement, if you are going to retire in the next, 5 years or so, if you're not calling right now, I don't know what's going on, because this is a no-brainer. If you have saved at least $200,000 for your retirement, we are willing to put together for you, absolutely free of charge, with no obligation, we will put together a personalized retirement income analysis. And this analysis will help you understand, hey, will my money last as long as I do? What if taxes go up? How will that affect you? What if your health care? What if you get sick along the way? How will that impact your planning? Right? What about inflation? How does that impact things? This analysis will identify, here's where you are now, and specifically, here's what you need to do in order to make sure you have that bulletproof retirement plan.
Right.
Wouldn't that be awesome to have a bulletproof retirement plan?
Be amazing.
See, we're huge believers. You work your whole life, just like my parents. You work your whole life, you save money. You deserve to enjoy the retirement of your dreams. You deserve that. The financial industry as a whole, they couldn't give two hoots about it, but we do. I've seen this impact real people, and I know how to help you. Let us be helpful. So just give us a call. And Zach, what's our number?
Mike, it's easy. It's 512-886-5850. Again, that number is 512-886-5850. Now, again, it's after hours. You're going to get our answering service, and they're just going to get your name, your number, and a good time for us to give you a call back.
Mike, the key is this. You've got to get a plan. You need to have a plan to get you through retirement, and it's not the same thing that gets you to retirement. These are two very different activities. So it all starts, though, by getting that free personalized retirement income analysis. That's where it all starts. You need to know where you are. If you are sitting on the diversified balanced portfolio, you're in trouble. It's that simple. You're in trouble. You just don't know it yet. Let's get this analysis done while you're still in good shape so you can make some positive changes and protect yourself, right? You deserve that great retirement. Let's be smart. Let's make sure you're making the right financial choices. All right, gang, we are up against the clock. We have to wrap up this week. It was great talking to all of you. I hope you have a great week. Be one of those first 10 callers, 512-886-5850, and we'll see you again next week.